Hey, everybody, welcome to Pro Singer Success Collective. We are going to have another great mindset conversation today with Coach Judy, who is our expert transformational mindset coach who works with singers in our intensive training program and in Vocality Lab. And I wanted to come on today with her because I've noticed a pattern that so many of you and so many singers get into, which is a pattern of procrastination and resistance towards doing the things that you know are going to be powerful for you to get where you want to go, and yet you still have the procrastination and the resistance to taking those steps and getting those things done. So today we're going to be talking about overcoming procrastination and resistance. All right, Judy. So, well, before we get in, I would just like to say, do you experience, those of you who are watching, do you experience practice reluctance perhaps, or procrastination around, let's say, learning your music? You have a show coming up and you're not totally memorized yet, or some resistance, for example, around booking gigs. You want to make money, you want to be paid to play, and yet there's this resistance around actually making those calls. You might even have a list of the venues and you're still not making the calls, right? And so I think to just put out there, before Judy's going to really help you with some great tools to get around and overcome the resistance and the procrastination, just to know that resistance is really just your fear trying to protect you. It's just trying to protect you from failing or not doing the thing, not getting the result that you really want. So just keep that in mind, that it's there for a reason. And when we annihilate the reason, then it becomes really easy to overcome. So I want Coach Judy to talk about some really great ideas and hacks and things that she has worked with our singers around resistance and procrastination.
Yes, everything that you just said is so true. It is mostly rooted in fear as well as safety. It's interesting because people think that it's just lack of motivation. If I'm procrastinating, if I'm resisting, it's just because I'm lazy or I'm not in the mood. And so I hear all these stories as to why people think that they're procrastinating or having resistance to practice or resistance to putting themselves out there to that higher level that they want to be. And the interesting thing is, when we really get into the root of it, the root is it's failure. It's fear of, what if I do all of this and then nothing happens? What if I do all of this and I put myself out there and it's embarrassing because it doesn't feel like I'm getting to where I want to go? And so those kinds of thoughts and beliefs are what keep people procrastinating. Because if you don't think it's really going to happen for you, why would you do it, right? And so the real key here is to recognize that, yes, it's scary. And yes, your brain wants to protect you from being scared. And so it says, just don't do it. Make up all the reasons why and don't do it. But the thing of it is, whenever you really begin to address that, wait a minute, what if I do it? It's again, what ifing to the positive, and that I've talked about in some of our past trainings. And what if I get myself out there and people start saying yes? What if it's totally possible for me? That's when you can begin to get into the excitement energy, because as long as you believe that there's this possibility that it might not happen, that puts you in contraction, scarcity mindset. And when you're in scarcity, you can't attract or engage in a way that is going to show, I've got the energy, I've got the excitement, I've got the belief that says, I'm ready, take me, let's go. And believe it or not, that will either make it or break it. And so to overcome that, it's about getting really clear on what you want, and then really clear on the steps to get there and making it non-negotiable to do them. And that really takes overcoming that little inner voice that's going to constantly say, oh, but it might not work out. Because that little voice, it just wants to show up all the time, but it's putting a barrier on that and just going, no, I'm not going to listen to this story anymore. I'm not going to allow this old tape to keep playing in my head, that because it hasn't happened before now, it's never going to happen. It's some of those kind of thoughts that cause that fear that then creates the procrastination or resistance. And so the other thing that I see a lot is, I don't know about any of you out there, but I've seen a few people that have some perfectionism. Anybody relate to that? It's when we want to get it perfect before we put it out there. That's very demotivating, because how do we know when we've gotten it perfect enough, right? There really isn't a perfect enough. We think that there is, and we try to move toward that, but there's been many imperfect performances that I hear our singers celebrate all the time, that in its imperfection, it actually was perfect. It resonated with their audience. It resonated with the judges of the thing that they were auditioning for. And there you go, they got it. And so there's this idea of perfectionism and getting it exactly right, but sometimes it's in the imperfection that the authenticity comes out and the connection is created and it moves things forward. So if you are believing that if you can't, you've got to keep working to get it perfect, then it gets really demotivating and exhausting trying to continually strive toward it. So you have to allow yourself to believe and to really condition the thought that good enough is good enough. Let's just go and see what happens, because that's where you get to take the data. That's where you get to see, okay, what worked and what didn't. It starts to give you the clarity you need to then have the confidence you need to move it forward. And that changes everything. The other thing that I see a lot is that because people do overwork themselves trying to make it all happen, sometimes they'll think they need to practice for hours and hours every day, or they will think they need to just show up in all the ways all the time, and they exhaust themselves. They just do all the doing while not taking care of the human being. And if we don't take care of ourselves, then there's burnout and it causes emotional exhaustion. And with that, then how do you think that affects your body? Contraction again, right? And we don't want to be contracted. We want to be able to open up and have this whole growth mindset and growth within ourselves, because we're free of those contractions, those thoughts that stop us and keep us from moving forward. And so it's really taking away the grind and realizing, wait, if I do things that give me joy and fill me up, and I allow myself to play with this, to experiment, to learn, to be imperfect, perfectly imperfect, guess what? The magic just seems to happen. I see it over and over again with our singers. Don't you, Arden?
It does. And the three things that you were talking about, the fear of failure, the perfectionism, and then, this piece of self-care, they all play with each other. Because when we think we need to be perfect, when we think that we are going to, perfectionism is also a version of fear of failure. It has to be perfect or else I'm going to fail. And it's a way that, our inner critic minds use to protect us from failure, is by saying, well, if we're just perfect, then we won't fail, but we never reach perfect. So these things, they all relate, but what they all do, and also the idea of burnout and pushing too hard, and, none of these things allows you to do one very important thing, which Judy mentioned, but I want to hit this home. You don't get time in the saddle, and so you don't get data. And so it's the idea of start before you're ready. No more getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. That's what procrastination is. That's what it is. It's, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. And it's the same thing, and I know from years of experience working with singers, and Judy just from working with creatives of all types, that we expand when we get out and do the thing, because we get important data. If you want to be on equity stages, but you are not going to equity auditions, then you are not getting that data as to what's happening in those auditions for you that could move the needle incredibly to be able to have the success and the result that you want. If you're, I'm not ready. Start before you're ready. You never feel ready. You just need to stand in the desire that you have and start doing it. One of our singers was talking about this very thing today in Mindset Call, and she said something that we both loved, which was something to the effect of, I'm walking, and as I'm walking, the path is created.
Yes.
So if she doesn't start walking, right? If you don't start auditioning, if you want to be at a higher level getting lead roles and you're stuck in the ensemble, right? but you're scared to audition for them, or you think that, you have some procrastination around booking gigs. You want those gigs, but you're not in the walking, right? The path to the gigs is created by the walking, because every step you take, you blaze a new foot forward, and you see something new, and you get to a new destination. And that's how you learn and get the data for everything you need to know that will take you further and further and further down the path, closer and closer to that thing you want. So it's all related, because if you don't start before you're ready, then you will never get that learning. You will never get that data. You will never get that time in the saddle. And I say this not to be mean, but you'll stay where you are. And we don't want that for you. We want you to be in growth. We want you to expand. We want you to have everything you want. And so to that end, I want to let you guys know that we are doing another Pro Singer Career Accelerator Masterclass series coming up. It is 7-day online free masterclass series where we deep dive into not just high-level technique, and we will go there. We will talk high-level breath support, game-changing technique, things like sound column resonance, things like energetic sound direction, things like, breath support opposition. These are techniques that most teachers do not teach, and we're giving them to you guys for free in this 7-day online training. So we do 90 minutes a day, and we give you the MP3s to practice with. There's live hands-on interactive coaching with both me and with members of our team. Coach Judy will be there. And so comment training under this video for the link to register. You need to be registered so that you get all of the Zoom links and you get all the resources so you can get the most out of the workshop. So if you're a singer who is here and you're doing well enough, but it's not really where you want to be, and you want to be here, come to the Masterclass series, because we're going to train you up on all the things that you get to find within yourself, within your technique, that will take you there. All right. Thank you so much to Coach Judy for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you want to attend our next free 7-day online Pro Singer Career Accelerator Masterclass series, which you absolutely should do, then click that square button in the left-hand corner down there to register, and I will see you inside.